We live in an age where the relentless pursuit of material wealth dominates much of our lives. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us that happiness and success are directly proportional to the balance in our bank accounts or the number of possessions we own. However, this mentality often leads us into an endless cycle of dissatisfaction and anxiety. Because the more we achieve, the more we want. The philosophy of Stoicism, which emerged in ancient Greece and flourished in Rome, offers a radically different view of what it means to be truly wealthy. For the Stoics, true wealth does not lie in the accumulation of material goods, but in the ability to find contentment and inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. They teach us that true security and freedom come not from control over the outside world, from mastery over ourselves. In this context, Stoicism challenges the modern notion of wealth by proposing that true prosperity is achieved when we free ourselves from the constant desire for more and find satisfaction in what we already have. This philosophy does not preach the complete renunciation of material goods, but rather a deeper and wiser understanding of their relative importance in our lives. Instead of being slaves to money and possessions, the Stoics encourage us to be their masters, using them rationally and in line with our highest values. So throughout this series, we'll explore how Stoic principles can guide us in the pursuit of a life that is financially controlled and, more importantly, truly rich in meaning and purpose. At the heart of Stoicism is a profound redefinition of the concept of wealth. For the Stoics, true wealth is not measured by the amount of material possessions one accumulates, but by one's ability to find contentment with what one has. This distinction between wealth and fortune is fundamental to understanding the Stoic view of what really matters in life. Fortune, as the Stoics describe it, refers to the material possessions and external resources that we often consider to be signs of success. Luxurious houses, expensive cars, fat bank accounts, all of this falls under what the modern world often defines as wealth. However, for the Stoics, possession of these things does not guarantee a good life. This is because, according to them, fortune is unstable, subject to the whims of fate, and therefore beyond our control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, argued that we shouldn't put our happiness in things we can't control. It is not things that disturb us, he wrote, but the opinions we have about things. So, if our happiness depends on material possessions, something that fate can take away from us at any moment, then we are doomed to anxiety and emotional instability. On the other hand, the Stoics define wealth as the ability to be satisfied with what you have, regardless of how much or how little it is. As Seneca teaches us, it is not the man who has little who is poor, but the man who desires more. This quote encapsulates the essence of Stoic philosophy. True wealth is internal, a state of mind where we find peace and contentment no matter what the external circumstances. This concept of internal wealth also connects directly to the Stoic idea of living in accordance with nature. In other words, living in harmony with the universe and with our own rational essence. The Stoics believed that the universe operates according to a rational order, and that we, as part of this universe, must align our desires and actions with this order. When we seek external wealth, we often stray from this order, pursuing insatiable desires that distance us from our true nature. The Stoic vision, therefore, challenges the contemporary mentality that associates success with the acquisition of goods. Instead of losing ourselves in an endless quest for more, the Stoics invite us to reflect on what we really need to live well. This doesn't mean completely renouncing material possessions, but rather questioning the role they play in our lives. Do we really need more, or can we find contentment with what we already have? For Stoicism, the path to true wealth begins with moderation and gratitude. When we learn to value what we already have, instead of fixating on what we don't yet have, we begin to experience a form of freedom that cannot be bought or sold. This freedom frees us from the social pressures that push us to consume more and more, and allows us to focus on cultivating virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, true treasures according to the Stoic. So, as we deepen our understanding of the Stoic definitions of wealth, we can begin to reevaluate our own notions of success and happiness. We can ask ourselves, Are we chasing fortune, or are we cultivating true wealth? By making this distinction, we can find a path to a more balanced life, where inner contentment is not just a philosophical ideal, but a practical reality that guides our daily choices. In today's world, many believe that financial security is the foundation for a peaceful and worry-free life. This belief, deeply rooted in society, leads people to incessantly seek higher earnings, robust savings, and secure investments, in the hope of shielding themselves from life's unforeseen events. However, this notion that money can offer real control over our destiny is, from a Stoic point of view, a dangerous illusion. The Stoics, always aware of human limitations in the face of the vast and unpredictable cosmos, taught that there is a clear distinction between what we can control and what is beyond our reach. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic thinkers, underlined this difference when he said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens, that matters." This quote encapsulates the essence of what the Stoics call the dichotomy of control. According to this view, true peace of mind comes not from trying to control the uncontrollable, from focusing on what is within our power, our thoughts, choices, and attitudes. When we apply this philosophy to the field of finance, we realize that financial security, as commonly understood, is a mirage. No matter how much wealth we accumulate, it can never protect us from the inevitable uncertainties of life, illness, accidents, global economic changes, and so on. The belief that money can offer this kind of absolute security exposes us to constant vulnerability, because all it takes is one event beyond our control to crumble the sense of stability we so desperately seek. The Stoics therefore advise us to adopt a different approach to financial security. Instead of fixating on the idea that we need a certain amount of money to be secure, we should focus on cultivating a resilient and adaptable mindset, capable of facing adversity with serenity. This change in perspective frees us from the constant fear of losing what we have, because we understand that true security does not lie in external goods, but in our internal ability to deal with circumstance. Powerful Stoic practice for deconstructing the illusion of financial security is meditation on poverty, or premeditatio malorum. Seneca, one of the great Stoic masters, recommended that we periodically imagine the worst-case scenario, such as losing all our possessions, and reflect on how we would cope. The aim is not to cultivate pessimism, but to prepare the mind for any eventuality, reducing the emotional impact of a real loss should it occur. By getting used to the idea of loss, it stops scaring us so much, and we can live with more peace of mind and less attachment. In addition, the Stoics remind us that although we cannot control external events, we can always control how we interpret and react to them. This ability to shape our perception is the key to turning adversity into an opportunity for growth and learning. If, instead of despairing in the face of a financial setback, we see the situation as a test of our virtue, we will be putting the essence of Stoicism into practice. Therefore, true financial security, according to Stoic philosophy, does not lie in accumulating assets or creating a false sense of invulnerability, but in developing an imperturbable mind and a strong spirit. The more we focus on strengthening our virtue and our ability to adapt, the less we depend on external circumstances for our happiness and peace of mind. This approach allows us to face life with more courage and less fear, knowing that whatever the outcome of our financial circumstances, our true wealth, our peace of mind and inner resilience remains intact. By adopting this view, we begin to realize that the control that really matters is not over the financial market or the assets we own, but over the way we choose to live and respond to life situations. With this foundation established, we move on to explore the role of virtue in financial decision-making. Understanding how wisdom, as the supreme value for the Stoics, should guide our choices, not just in times of crisis, but throughout our journey through life. How can we use this inner power to make financial decisions that reflect our deepest values? We'll see that, for the Stoics, true wealth is always aligned with virtue, and that the path to prosperity begins in the mind and character. For the Stoics, virtue was the supreme good, and wisdom, the highest of virtues, played a central role in all of life's decisions, including financial ones. Wisdom, or Sophia, allows us to discern what is truly valuable and what is merely desirable. In the context of finance, this distinction is crucial, as it determines whether our choices will lead us to a life of contentment and balance, or trap us in an endless cycle of unsatisfied desires. Stoic wisdom teaches us to question our motivations before making any financial decision. Are we driven by fear, greed, or social pressure? Or do our choices reflect a deep understanding of what we really need to live well? Wisdom invites us to seek answers that are aligned with our deepest values, rather than letting ourselves be carried away by momentary impulses or external expectation. Let's take the decision to invest money as an example. While many may be attracted to high-risk investments that promise quick returns, Stoic wisdom advises us to consider long-term stability and security, rather than getting carried away by tempting promises of immediate gain. True financial wisdom, therefore, lies in a measured approach which considers the possible consequences of our actions, not only for ourselves, but also for others around us. Another application of wisdom in financial management is the practice of moderation. The Stoics believed in the importance of living a balanced life, avoiding the extremes of excess and deprivation. This moderation should be applied not only to our spending, but also to our expectations. Instead of constantly chasing more wealth, wisdom guides us to recognize when we have enough and to find contentment in it. This doesn't mean rejecting financial growth or opportunities for improvement, but rather ensuring that our ambitions are guided by reason and not greed. Wisdom also warns us about the dangers of comparison. In a society that values status and appearances, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our success in financial terms against others. However, the Stoics teach us that the true measure of wealth is internal. Seneca reminds us that the greatest wealth is to live contentedly with little. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we should focus on living according to our own principles and finding satisfaction in our personal progress, however small it may seem in comparison to external standards. In addition, Stoic wisdom leads us to consider the moral impact of our financial decisions. The Stoics believe that our actions should always be in harmony with virtue. This means that, when making financial decisions, we should ask ourselves whether we are acting fairly, honestly, and benevolently. An example of this would be choosing to invest in companies or initiatives that make a positive contribution to society, rather than just seeking personal profit. In this way, wisdom guides us to use our resources not just for our own benefit, but for the common good. It's also important to recognize that wisdom in financial management involves a healthy dose of humility. The Stoics teach us to accept that we cannot predict the future with certainty, and that we must therefore be flexible and adaptable in our financial strategy. Rather than sticking rigidly to a plan, we should be prepared to adjust our courses as new information or circumstances arise. This allows us to navigate life's uncertainties with more security and less anxiety, knowing that our true stability comes from our ability to adapt, and not from the illusion of absolute control. In this way, Stoic wisdom transforms the way we approach our finances, offering a vision that transcends the mere accumulation of material goods. By incorporating this virtue into our financial decisions, we create a solid foundation for a life that is rich not just in terms of possessions, but in terms of meaning, purpose, and well-being. As we move forward, this wisdom prepares us to face the inevitable financial fluctuations with serenity and confidence, knowing that our true wealth cannot be measured by numbers, but by the quality of our choices and the inner peace they give us. In the next part, we will explore how Seneca, one of the richest and most renowned Stoic philosophers, balanced his immense fortune with the practice of moderation and detachment, offering valuable lessons on how to prosper financially without losing sight of Stoic principles. As someone who lived between the extremes of wealth and philosophy, Seneca offers us a practical model of how to apply wisdom in everyday life, particularly in the context of a society that is not only rich but also wealthy. Lucius Annaeus Seneca, prominent Roman philosopher and one of the wealthiest men of his time, stands as a unique figure in Stoic history. His life presents an intriguing paradox. How could someone with immense wealth genuinely embody the Stoic ideals of moderation and virtue? Seneca's writings provide profound insights into how one can navigate the complexities of wealth without compromising philosophical principle, offering timeless lessons on the delicate balance between financial prosperity and ethical living. Seneca's life was marked by his dual roles as a statesman and a philosopher. As a tutor and advisor to Emperor Nero, he amassed a fortune that would have been enviable by any standard ham. However, unlike many of his contemporaries, Seneca did not let his wealth define his identity or dictate his values. Instead, he viewed wealth as something neutral, neither inherently good nor bad, but something that could be used wisely or foolishly, depending on one's character and intentions. One of Seneca's key teachings on wealth is the concept of usufruct, the idea that wealth is not something we truly own, but something we temporarily use. He believed that all material possessions are ultimately transient and should be treated as such. In his essay, On the Happy Life, Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, the man who craves more, that is poor." This perspective shifts the focus from the accumulation of wealth to the management of desire. According to Seneca, true wealth is found in the ability to be content with what one has, rather than in the pursuit of more. Moderation, or temperantia, was central to Seneca's approach to wealth. Despite his affluence, Seneca advocated for living simply and avoiding the excesses that wealth can bring. He practiced what he preached by engaging in regular exercises of voluntary poverty, where he would live for periods as if he had nothing. This practice was not just a theoretical exercise, but a means of training himself to be resilient in the face of potential loss. By voluntarily experiencing discomfort, Seneca fortified his mind against the fear of losing his wealth, thus cultivating a sense of independence from his material circumstance. Seneca also recognized the moral responsibilities that came with wealth. He believed that those who are fortunate enough to possess more than they need have a duty to use their resources for the greater good. This belief is evident in his letters, where he often advises friends and followers to use their wealth to help others, rather than hoarding it for personal gain. For Seneca, wealth was not an end in itself, but a tool that, when used wisely, could contribute to the flourishing of oneself and others. Another important aspect of Seneca's teachings is his emphasis on the impermanence of wealth. He urged his readers to be prepared for the possibility that their fortunes could change at any moment. This stoic acceptance of life's uncertainties encouraged a mindset of detachment, where one's peace of mind does not depend on external circumstances. Seneca reminded his followers that what truly matters is not the possession of wealth, but the cultivation of virtues such as wisdom, courage, and justice. These are the qualities that remain with us, regardless of our financial status, and that ultimately determine our happiness and fulfillment. Seneca's life and teachings offer a compelling model for how to navigate the challenges of wealth in a way that is consistent with Stoic principle. His approach to wealth, rooted in moderation, ethical responsibility, and a deep understanding of the transient nature of material goods, provides valuable guidance for anyone seeking to live a life of both financial prosperity and moral integrity. As we move forward, Seneca's example prompts us to reflect on our own relationship with wealth. Are we using our resources to foster virtue and benefit others, or are we driven by a never-ending desire for more? How do we balance the advantages of financial success with the need to live simply and in harmony with our values? These questions are not just philosophical, but deeply practical, as they shape the way we live and the legacy we leave behind. Part 6: Financial Freedom Through Detachment. Letting go of material attachment. The Stoics placed immense importance on the concept of detachment, especially when it came to wealth and material possessions. While wealth, in itself, was not seen as inherently bad by Stoic philosophers, the attachment to it was considered a significant obstacle to personal freedom and peace of mind. According to Stoic thought, true financial freedom is not achieved by accumulating wealth, but by learning to need less and developing a mindset where one's happiness and security are not dependent on external possessions. Detachment in Stoicism is not about rejecting wealth or living in poverty, but about fostering an attitude of indifference to material things. This concept, known as apatheia, refers to a state of being free from unhealthy emotions such as greed, fear, or anxiety about losing what we have. For the Stoics, financial freedom was the ability to maintain equanimity whether one was rich or poor. As Epictetus emphasized, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. By reducing our dependence on external factors like wealth, we gain a greater sense of control over our internal state, something the Stoics saw as essential to living a good life. One of the most effective Stoic exercises for cultivating detachment from wealth is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. This practice involves imagining the loss of one's material possessions and reflecting on how one would cope with such a loss. The aim is not to dwell on misfortune, but to prepare oneself mentally for it, thereby reducing the fear and anxiety associated with losing wealth. When we regularly confront the possibility of financial loss in our minds, the prospect becomes less frightening in reality. This practice strengthens our resilience and reminds us that, while material wealth can disappear, our character and virtues remain intact. Detachment from wealth also involves recognizing the impermanence of material possessions. As the Stoics frequently pointed out, everything in life is subject to change, and nothing we own is truly ours forever. This perspective encourages us to view our wealth as something temporary and borrowed, rather than something we possess absolutely. Seneca, in his letters, often reminded his readers to live as though you have already lost everything. By adopting this mindset, we reduce the emotional burden of clinging to our possessions, allowing us to live with more freedom and less fear. Moreover, the Stoic approach to detachment helps us redefine what it means to be financially secure. Many people believe that financial security comes from having a large bank account or an abundance of assets. However, the Stoics would argue that true security comes from within, from our ability to adapt to changing circumstances and to find contentment regardless of our financial situation. When we are no longer dependent on wealth for our sense of stability, we become more resilient in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. This inner security is far more lasting than any material wealth could ever be. Another important aspect of Stoic detachment is the rejection of consumerism and the constant pursuit of more. In modern society, we are often encouraged to believe that happiness lies in the acquisition of more possessions, more wealth, and more status. However, this endless chase for more only deepens our attachment to material things and makes us more vulnerable to disappointment and dissatisfaction. The Stoics teach us that contentment comes not from having more, from wanting less. By reducing our desires and focusing on what is truly necessary, we can achieve a sense of freedom that no amount of wealth can provide. Ultimately, financial freedom through detachment is about shifting our mindset from one of possession to one of appreciation. Rather than constantly seeking to acquire more, we can cultivate gratitude for what we already have and recognize that our true worth is not tied to our material asset. This shift allows us to enjoy wealth without becoming enslaved by it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By focusing on cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice, rather than accumulating wealth, we can achieve a deeper and more lasting sense of fulfillment. As we continue exploring the Stoic approach to financial control, we will now turn to the practical application of these ideas in the realm of financial planning. In the next section, we will examine how Stoic principles can guide us in setting financial goals that are aligned with our values, and how we can manage our resources in a way that fosters both personal and financial well-being. Through this, we will see that the path to financial control is not just about mastering our money, but about mastering ourselves. While Stoicism offers deep philosophical insights into the nature of wealth and contentment, it also provides practical guidance on how to manage our financial lives. The application of Stoic principles in financial planning involves setting goals that align with our values, practicing moderation, and making decisions that reflect wisdom and foresight. By integrating Stoic thought into our financial strategies, we can create a balanced approach that not only ensures financial stability, but also promotes personal growth and well-being. The first step in applying Stoicism to financial planning is to set goals that are grounded in reason and aligned with our true needs rather than our desires. The Stoics teach us to distinguish between what is necessary and what is superfluous. In financial terms, this means prioritizing essential needs, such as housing, food, and healthcare, over luxury items or status symbols that do not contribute to our overall well-being. A Stoic financial plan focuses on securing the basics for a good life and finding contentment in simplicity. One practical approach to setting Stoic financial goals is to adopt the concept of enough. Instead of aiming for unlimited wealth, we should determine what is enough for us to live comfortably and with peace of mind. This involves assessing our true needs, considering our responsibilities, and being realistic about what is required to meet them. Once we have established what is sufficient, we can resist the societal pressure to continuously strive for more. This practice not only fosters contentment, but also prevents the stress and anxiety that come from chasing ever higher financial targets. Moderation, or temperance, is another key Stoic principle that can be applied to financial planning. It encourages us to live within our means and avoid the extremes of extravagance or austerity. In practice, this might mean creating a budget that reflects our income and expenses, avoiding unnecessary debt, and saving for the future without becoming obsessed with hoarding wealth. Moderation in spending allows us to enjoy the present while also preparing for future uncertainties, striking a balance that promotes long-term financial health. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of foresight and planning. This is reflected in the practice of premeditatio malorum, or the anticipation of possible challenges. In financial planning, this means preparing for potential setbacks, such as job loss, medical emergencies, or economic downturns. By building an emergency fund and diversifying our investments, by anticipating these risks, we can reduce the impact of financial shocks and maintain stability even in difficult times. The Stoic planner is not one who hopes for the best, but prepares for the worst, ensuring that they are ready to face whatever comes their way with resilience. Investing wisely is another area where Stoic principles can be applied. The Stoics would advise us to approach investments with caution and to focus on long-term stability rather than short-term gains. This involves making informed decisions, avoiding speculative ventures, and prioritizing investments that are aligned with our values. For example, investing in ethical funds or companies that contribute positively to society reflects the Stoic commitment to justice and the common good. By aligning our investments with our principles, we can ensure that our financial growth supports not just our personal wealth, but also our broader values. Moreover, the Stoic emphasis on self-control is crucial in financial planning. Self-control helps us resist impulsive spending, avoid debt, and stay committed to our financial goals. It requires discipline to stick to a budget, make regular savings contributions, and avoid unnecessary risks. Developing self-control in our financial lives also fosters a sense of empowerment, as we learn to manage our resources wisely and take responsibility for our financial well-being. Stoicism also teaches us to remain indifferent to external praise or criticism regarding our financial status. In a society that often equates wealth with success, it is easy to become preoccupied with how others perceive our financial standing. However, the Stoics remind us that our worth is not determined by external factors like wealth or social status, but by our inner virtues. By focusing on what we can control, our actions, decisions, and mindset, we can free ourselves from the need for external validation and stay true to our financial goals. Finally, the Stoic approach to financial planning encourages us to use our wealth for the greater good. Seneca often wrote about the responsibility that comes with wealth, urging those with resources to help others and contribute to the community. This might involve charitable giving, supporting causes we believe in, or simply using our financial power to make a positive impact. By viewing wealth as a tool for doing good, we shift our focus from self-centered accumulation to a broader, more meaningful purpose. Incorporating Stoic principles into financial planning not only helps us achieve financial control, but also aligns our financial lives with our deeper values. By setting Stoic goals, practicing moderation, exercising self-control, and preparing for the future, we can build a financial foundation that supports both our material needs and our personal growth. As we continue on this journey, we will explore how Stoicism can help us overcome financial anxiety and find peace of mind, even in a world full of uncertainty. Part 8. Overcoming Financial Anxiety. Stoic Techniques for Peace of Mind. Financial anxiety is a pervasive issue in modern life, fueled by uncertainties about the future, economic instability, and the pressures of maintaining or improving one's financial status. For many, money is not just a means of survival, but a source of deep-seated stress and worry. Stoicism, with its emphasis on emotional resilience and rational thought, offers practical techniques for overcoming financial anxiety and cultivating peace of mind, regardless of our economic circumstance. One of the most effective Stoic strategies for managing anxiety is the practice of negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. This involves deliberately imagining the worst-case financial scenarios, such as losing a job, facing unexpected expenses, or experiencing a market crash, and mentally preparing for them. While this might seem counterintuitive, the goal is not to dwell on negativity, but to reduce its power over us. By confronting our fears directly, we can desensitize ourselves to the potential impact of financial loss. When we consider how we might cope if the worst happens, we often realize that we have the inner resources to manage these situations, which in turn diminishes the fear associated with it. Negative visualization also helps us appreciate what we currently have. When we imagine losing our financial stability, we often gain a deeper sense of gratitude for the resources we possess now. This shift in perspective can alleviate the constant worry about acquiring more, as it refocuses our attention on the value of what we already have. By practicing gratitude regularly, we build a mindset that is less prone to anxiety and more rooted in contentment. Another powerful Stoic technique for overcoming financial anxiety is the concept of amor fati, the love of fate. This principle encourages us to embrace whatever happens in our lives, including financial challenges, as necessary and beneficial experiences. Rather than resisting or fearing financial difficulties, we learn to accept them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. This acceptance reduces the mental anguish associated with financial uncertainty, allowing us to maintain equanimity in the face of adversity. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. When it comes to finances, this means accepting that we cannot always control external factors, like the economy, market fluctuations, or job stability. However, we do have control over our responses to these challenges. By concentrating our efforts on things within our control, such as our spending habits, saving strategies, and professional development, we empower ourselves to take constructive action rather than succumbing to worry. Practical application of this Stoic principle is the creation of a financial contingency plan. By proactively setting aside an emergency fund, diversifying income sources, or developing new skills that enhance employability, we build a buffer against financial uncertainty. These actions provide a sense of security and reduce the fear of unforeseen financial events. Knowing that we have prepared for potential difficulties helps to calm the mind and allows us to face the future with greater confidence. Mindfulness, another tool in the Stoic arsenal, plays a crucial role in managing financial anxiety. Stoicism encourages us to live in the present moment, focusing on what we can do today rather than worrying about what might happen tomorrow. This aligns closely with modern mindfulness practices, which emphasize awareness and acceptance of the present. By practicing mindfulness, we can interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts about money and return our attention to the tasks at hand. Whether it's budgeting, paying bills, or planning for the future, staying present helps us approach financial matters with clarity and calmness. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of simplifying life, embracing minimalism and rejecting unnecessary luxuries, can significantly reduce financial stress. By reducing our material desires and focusing on what truly matters, we lower the pressure to earn and spend excessively. This simplification not only brings financial relief, but also aligns with the Stoic pursuit of a life guided by reason and virtue, rather than consumerism. When our lifestyle is less dependent on material wealth, financial fluctuations have less impact on our overall happiness and peace of mind. Stoicism also advocates for a change in perspective on what constitutes success and failure. In modern society, financial success is often equated with personal worth, leading to anxiety when our finances don't measure up to societal standards. However, the Stoics remind us that true success is not about external wealth, but about living in accordance with our values and maintaining inner tranquility. By redefining success in terms of character and virtue rather than financial achievements, we liberate ourselves from the pressures that contribute to financial anxiety. Lastly, community and connection are vital in the Stoic approach to overcoming financial anxiety. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all people and the importance of supporting one another. Sharing financial concerns with trusted friends or seeking advice from mentors can provide reassurance and practical help, reducing the burden of anxiety. Additionally, contributing to the well-being of others, whether through charity or acts of kindness, shifts our focus away from our own worries and fosters a sense of purpose and fulfillment. By applying these Stoic techniques, negative visualization, acceptance, focusing on what we can control, mindfulness, simplification, redefining success, and community support, we can significantly reduce financial anxiety and cultivate a more peaceful, resilient approach to our financial lives. As we continue to explore Stoic principles in financial control, the next section will look at modern examples of individuals who have successfully integrated these philosophies into their financial lives, demonstrating that the Stoic path is not only viable, but also deeply rewarding in today's world. Modern examples of Stoic financial wisdom: living below your means. Principles of Stoicism, though ancient, offer profound wisdom that is highly applicable to modern financial life. Today, we see many individuals who embody Stoic financial wisdom by living below their means, focusing on what truly matters, and cultivating a sense of contentment that is independent of material wealth. These modern Stoics prioritize financial independence, ethical spending, and intentional living, showing that the pursuit of a meaningful life does not require vast riches, but a disciplined mind and a clear set of values. One striking example of modern Stoic financial wisdom is the growing movement known as FIRE, financial independence, retire early. Adherents of FIRE embrace the Stoic practice of moderation by living frugally, saving aggressively, and investing wisely with the goal of achieving financial independence. Core philosophy of FIRE aligns closely with Stoic ideals. By reducing unnecessary expenses and focusing on accumulating sufficient resources to live without the need for constant income, individuals can gain the freedom to live life on their own terms. This movement rejects the consumerist mentality that equates happiness with spending, and instead promotes the idea that financial freedom comes from needing less. A key figure in the FIRE movement, known as Mr. Money Mustache, the pseudonym of Peter Adney, advocates for a lifestyle that reflects Stoic principle. He encourages his followers to question societal norms around spending, challenge the assumption that more is always better, and cultivate a mindset of abundance by appreciating what they already have. By living well below their means, FIRE practitioners often retire decades earlier than their peers, not to escape work, but to pursue meaningful activities that align with their values, whether that be creative projects, volunteering, or spending more time with family. This approach demonstrates how Stoic financial wisdom can be applied to achieve both financial security and a life rich in purpose. Another example of modern Stoic financial wisdom is seen in the minimalist movement. Minimalists, much like the Stoics, seek to simplify their lives by reducing their possessions to the essentials. They emphasize quality over quantity and prioritize experiences, relationships, and personal growth over the accumula. Consider also the story of Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest individuals in the world, who exemplifies many Stoic financial principles despite his immense fortune. Known for his frugal habits and simple lifestyle, Buffett has famously lived in the same modest house for decades and drives a relatively inexpensive car. He avoids the trappings of luxury, focusing instead on long-term investments and philanthropy. Buffett's financial decisions are guided by a deep understanding of value and a commitment to using his wealth responsibly. His approach to money reflects the Stoic idea that true wealth is not about how much you have, but how wisely and purposefully you use it. Buffett's life is a testament to the power of living below your means, making thoughtful investments, and giving back to society, all core tenets of Stoic financial wisdom. Moreover, there are countless individuals today who, though not famous, embody Stoic principles in their financial lives. These are people who choose to live within their means, prioritize savings and investments, and make spending decisions that reflect their values rather than societal pressures. They might drive older cars, live in smaller homes, or take fewer vacations, not out of necessity, but out of a desire to live intentionally and avoid the stress that comes with financial overextension. These choices allow them to build financial security and enjoy peace of mind, knowing they are not burdened by debt or the need to constantly keep up with others. Living below your means, as practiced by these modern Stoics, involves more than just financial frugality. It's a holistic approach to life that integrates self-discipline, contentment, and a focus on what truly matters. It requires a shift in mindset from one of scarcity, where we always feel the need for more, to one of abundance, where we recognize that we already have enough. This shift not only leads to financial stability, but also to a richer, more fulfilling life. Concept of financial independence, as embraced by the FIRE movement, minimalism, and individuals like Warren Buffett, shows that the Stoic path to wealth is not about the relentless pursuit of more, but about the disciplined management of what we have. It's about making choices that align with our deepest values and recognizing that true wealth comes from the freedom to live according to those values. As we approach the conclusion of this exploration of Stoic financial wisdom, it becomes clear that the principles of Stoicism, moderation, self-control, detachment, and living according to nature, offer a powerful framework for achieving financial control and personal fulfillment. In the final section, we will reflect on how these lessons can be applied to our lives and encourage a deeper commitment to living a life of virtue, contentment, and financial freedom. The legacy of Stoic wealth in modern life. As we conclude our exploration of Stoic financial wisdom, it's evident that the teachings of ancient philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius have a profound relevance to our modern lives. The Stoic approach to wealth, grounded in virtues such as moderation, wisdom, and detachment, offers a path to financial control that transcends mere material accumulation. It is a philosophy that invites us to rethink our relationship with money, to question the assumptions of contemporary consumerism, and to focus on what truly enriches our lives. The Stoics remind us that true wealth is not measured by the size of our bank accounts or the number of possessions we accumulate, but by the quality of our character and the depth of our contentment. In a world where financial pressures and societal expectations often drive people to anxiety and dissatisfaction, Stoicism offers a countercultural perspective. It teaches us that by mastering our desires, exercising self-control, and living in alignment with our values, we can achieve a sense of peace and fulfillment that no amount of money can buy. One of the most powerful lessons of Stoic wealth is the concept of enough. In a society that often equates more with better, the idea that we can and should find contentment with what we have is revolutionary. Pursuit of endless wealth, constant striving for more, often leads to a life of perpetual dissatisfaction. The Stoics, however, show us that by defining what is truly enough for us, we can escape the rat race and enjoy the freedom that comes with living simply and intentionally. This doesn't mean rejecting ambition or the desire to improve our circumstances, but rather aligning our goals with what genuinely contributes to our well-being and the well-being of others. Living according to Stoic principles also involves embracing the impermanence of wealth. The Stoics teach us that everything external, money, possessions, even our health, is subject to change and beyond our ultimate control. By accepting this reality, we can detach ourselves from the fear of loss and instead focus on cultivating inner resilience. This mindset allows us to face financial setbacks with equanimity, understanding that our true security comes not from external wealth, but from our inner strength and virtue. Incorporating Stoicism into our financial lives also means recognizing the ethical dimension of wealth. The Stoics believed that wealth should be used not just for personal gain, but for the greater good. This perspective challenges us to think about how we earn, spend, and invest our money. Are we using our financial resources in ways that reflect our values? Are we contributing to the well-being of others, or are we merely accumulating for ourselves? By viewing wealth as a tool for practicing justice, generosity, and kindness, we can transform our financial decisions into expressions of our highest principle. The modern examples of individuals living Stoic financial wisdom, whether through the FIRE movement, minimalism, or ethical investing, demonstrate that these ancient principles are not just abstract ideals, but practical guides for everyday living. These individuals show that it is possible to live richly without being rich, find satisfaction in simplicity, and to achieve financial independence through self-discipline and mindful living. As we reflect on the legacy of Stoic wealth in our own lives, we are invited to consider how we might apply these principles to achieve greater financial control and personal fulfillment. Perhaps it means setting clearer financial goals based on our true needs rather than societal expectations. Or maybe it involves practicing gratitude and contentment with what we already have, rather than constantly striving for more. It could also mean rethinking our spending habits, choosing to live more frugally, and using our resources to support causes that align with our values. Ultimately, true wealth of Stoicism lies in the wisdom to live a life of virtue, contentment, and purpose. By embracing these principles, we can find a deeper sense of freedom and satisfaction, one that is not tied to the fluctuations of the market or the opinions of others, but grounded in our own capacity for reason, self-control, and ethical living. As you move forward on your own financial journey, I encourage you to continue exploring the rich tradition of Stoic philosophy. Consider how the teachings of the Stoics can help you navigate the complexities of modern life, greater clarity, resilience, and peace. Whether through further reading, personal reflection, or practical application, the wisdom of the Stoics offers a timeless guide to achieving a life that is not only financially secure, truly rich in every sense of the word. Now that you've explored the principles of Stoic financial wisdom, I invite you to take action. Begin by evaluating your own relationship with money. Are your financial decisions driven by fear, desire, or social pressure? Can you practice more detachment from material wealth? Consider incorporating Stoic practices like negative visualization, gratitude journaling, or simplifying your lifestyle. By doing so, you can start to build a life of financial control that is deeply aligned with your values and aspirations. Continue your journey with Stoicism, whether through reading, reflection, or practical application, and discover how these ancient teachings can help you achieve a richer, more meaningful life.